America is over. That is what I think I will title this video. Woven into the gospel in America is the unspoken idea that America is God's chosen people, that we replace Israel as God's chosen people, and that we are never going to see the end of our nation. Dr. John MacArthur recently died. And when I found out, I knew instantly it was a marker. Again, I could see it. It's the end of an era. And I'm not saying that it was the John MacArthur era. He is just such a significant figure to that era that it just signaled the end of the era when I saw it. We are emerging now from an era in which the baby boomers, listen, I'm going to use the term baby boomers to refer to the old generation. I don't believe that God divides generations precisely the way that we divide it, and so you probably have some early Gen Xers clumped in there. You probably have the previous generation also grouped in there a bit to some degree. Their time is coming to an end. And it's a sad end. What happened, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, it's why we're in trouble. We had the blessing of God on this nation. We had it. And we, and in particular the baby boomers, we wanted that blessing for sure, the prosperity that goes with it, but we didn't want God. Not really. We wanted to feel like we were good, moral people. So we needed to redefine Christianity and rewrite it so that we could do it without God, which we did. We had God's manifest presence in the midst of his people, and we wanted all of that comfort plus all the comfort that the world and that Satan have to offer. We wanted friendship with the world too. Friendship with the world is enmity with God. And so the punishment, like I said in my last video, Romans 1, Isaiah 6, blindness. Seeing they don't see, hearing they don't hear. Otherwise they might turn and repent. And we didn't. God withdrew his manifest presence, and he gave us over to our blindness. He sealed us into it. I haven't checked, but I suspect that you'll find that it was about the 60s when atheism started gaining a lot of traction. And when I don't want to when Dr. MacArthur's brand of cessationism started gaining traction, it was either at the 60s, I think, or later. I'm saying I suspect that you'll find that this is true. All right, now I want to say something real quick because I'm saying some tough stuff, some bad things. And I want to give everybody, I want to give the person who is listening and who thinks that I'm right a warning. I have the authority to say what I'm saying. If you're going to say what I'm saying, even if you just say exactly what I'm saying, you'd better have the authority to say it. Specifically, it's very dangerous to speak about your betters, those older than you, those in positions of authority higher than you. God does not love that. We are so individualistic and rebellious. We walk around like nobody deserves any respect unless they earn it in my eyes. That's not God's idea of respect. God put somebody in a position of authority, Joe Biden as president, Donald Trump as president. Hate him or love him, you better respect him. Do not speak evil of a leader of your people. Be careful. So here I am, and I'm saying some tough things. This is my job. There was probably about 15 years ago, I was on YouTube and then I saw this video of this, I guess the guy, I guess he thought he was a prophet. I don't know what his deal was. All I remember is him saying that America is Babylon the whore from Revelation. And I did not know whether he was right or not. But what I did know was that he did not have a right to say what he was saying. In general, when God sends a messenger, he gives that messenger his heart. You're going to go and you're going to talk to somebody about what they did wrong. Have you wept with God over them? No? Maybe you don't have a right to say what you're about to say. And this man, he said it like he was ordering eggs at a diner. He didn't have a right to say what he was saying. I don't want what I'm saying to be true. I love America. God gave me his heart for America. I resisted, I think, seeing it. I didn't want to see it. Somewhat recently, our president bombed Iran. And he violated his oath of office in order to do it. He vowed to defend the Constitution, and the Constitution provides Congress with the authority to decide whether our nation is going to engage in war. Well, he skipped that part. He decided we were going to engage in war. And please, don't play semantics with me. If you bomb a country, you've declared war on them. You're lying to yourself to say otherwise. If you're going to lie to yourself, you might as well go somewhere else. I'm not interested in your company. And the grievous thing, the thing that really knocked the wind out of me, and I was surprised, because it's not as though I haven't seen this before, is that the church immediately began to defend him. Christians defended his behavior with situational ethics. The ends justify the means. I'm here to tell you that situational ethics has doomed America. God hates situational ethics. And it knocked the wind out of me. And again, it's old hat. I've seen it and seen it and seen it. And so for it to really shock me when it didn't, in my natural understanding, oh yeah, of course, that's what they do. It was noteworthy. I was like, it seems like something's going on. And I think that was the very last straw. I have been unable to successfully pray for America since that happened. And then this Saturday, I saw why. We've filled up to the brim the cup of God's judgment for our nation. Any individual and any entity has an allotted amount of judgment, like a cup of a different volume. And once that cup is filled, you're done. There's no repenting. While you have breath in your lungs, you're already on your way to hell, and there's no saving you. And America has filled up her cup of judgment. God is angry, and he is hurt, He is grieved. The baby boomer generation is cursed with blindness. As I said, they did not steward God's manifest presence in their midst. We wanted the blessings of God, friendship with the world, and the favor of the devil in the name of Christianity and the American dream. Comfort over all. Humanism, situational ethics, man's pleasure as the standard of value. Love for comfort over love for God, love for truth, and love for souls. And we sacrificed our children to Molech. Not just abortion, by the way. For comfort and prosperity. That's why Generation X is such a fatherless generation. To say nothing of the millennials. So, as I say, the boomers sold themselves into Romans chapter 1 blindness, and the punishment was they got what they wanted. They got their idea of the way that things are supposed to be, where everything is comfortable for them. All the while, things are rotting, and the currencies being inflated, and the soils being depleted, and et cetera, et cetera. All of these miseries are just increasing and increasing, but they have been enabled to have that comfort propped up. So even though they're technically, objectively less comfortable now than they were 20, 30 years ago, they're not aware of it. They're the frog setting the burner to a slow boil and getting in the water. So they got Christianity without God, without the supernatural, humanism. And they will die blind as a generation. And that's just done. I'm not saying, by the way, that every single one of them is going to die blind. Do minister to the baby boomers. Do see if you can be conducive to God opening their eyes. And they will not get to see the ramifications of their actions. They won't get to see what inflating the currency has done, what slaughtering babies has done. Even just the natural ramifications, abortion, and women not being in the home, and people having less children. All of these different things. There's natural ramifications the atheists can observe. Our population is it's already undone. Like you can't fix it now. And we won't feel the impact until they're dead. Not really. We'll start feeling it more and more as they die off. In many natural ways, but all of that stems from the actual root of the problem, which is spiritual in nature. So their judgment is going to catch up to them at the end. with their passing, the bill comes due. And Generation X and onwards, we're going to feel it. America's defeat is unavoidable. The boomers, in their time, they lived in an Isaiah kind of time. You had Isaiah's warning of what was happening. But God's seal on their ministry is that no one would hear them. And now you get a Jeremiah period where everything comes to a head. There's no fixing this. MAGA is going to fail. You cannot make America great again. There's going to be financial ruin. In my lifetime, there is going to be war in America, on American soil, boots on the ground. Now, I don't know what the logistics of that will be. I don't know how they fight war now, but it will be how they fight war now. And God will not be on either side. Mark that down. When the conflict happens, don't join either team. And it's I have known for, I don't know, probably at least since 2012, that there was going to be war on American soil in my lifetime. But I didn't know what to do with that information. And I wasn't released. I wasn't engaged. I am now. Now, I'm just going to speculate. Could be a civil war. Seems likely. And again, speculate if MAGA goes to war with the left, whoever that fills that spot, because I don't, I think MAGA wins, but America loses. Whichever team wins that, America will not be America any longer afterwards. Even if every position in our government, from the presidency and the Supreme Court justices and all the members of Congress and all of the governors, all the way down to the mayors of the smallest towns, even if they were all replaced with men such as King Josiah, and we had a revival to put his to shame, it would still be too late, because our cup of judgment has already been filled up. It's done. I'm not saying we shouldn't labor to see that kind of revival. We should. And I want to deal with a potential response of what I'm saying. Now, I know that there are going to be, assuming anybody watches this, there will be any number of people who are offended and object and say that I'm an idiot or whatever. Fine. I'm actually more concerned with the folks who are only too happy to believe that this is it for America. The pietists, the escapists, the folks who are essentially Gnostic and who have this wrong idea that doing things with our own strength is somehow evil. And so, if we want to get anything done, we should only pray and not try and work towards it with our natural means. And tag in, because it's sometimes hard to separate these two groups, because one group probably belongs to the other group for this other reason. The escapists, the folks who, it's apathy. They don't want to have to work hard. This is unpleasant. They just want to be taken home to Jesus so that they can feel pleasant because of their pain. That's humanism too. Because you're still using your pleasure as the highest standard of value. You're wrong. You still got to fight. If you're in the Alamo, you fight as a good soldier. You do your job. What's your job? Do it. Also, as far as eschatology goes, there are, and again, those two other groups tend to fit into this group. There are a number of people who believe we're on the cusp of Jesus returning. He's definitely going to return within my lifetime or whatever. You don't know that. I don't know that. If you look at the Bible, Old and New Testament, and you look at church history, you can see revivals and declensions. And when you read commentary contemporary to the declensions in world history, Christians, ever since Jesus told us that he was coming back, that we're in the end times and he's coming back soon, every time we had a declension, all the Christians, like, oh, this is the big one. Jesus is coming back. Yeah, he is, eventually. Could be tomorrow. It may not be for another 1,000 years, and I don't know. Again, do your job. Stop building castles in the sky. You're motivated by your comfort when you're doing that. You're doing the same thing that's got us to this place in the first place. So what do we do? Well, other than do your job, how do you pray? Well, you certainly can pray that God raise up and preserve a remnant. And you can work towards that. Grab hold of biblically principled thinking. Reject humanism in all its forms, especially situational ethics, and employing man's pleasure as a standard of value. And that means you don't get to be on Team MAGA. It means you don't get to be with any of the big teams. Listen, hypothetically, could we have an era in world history where the majority of the people in one nation think according to biblical principle? Yes. Don't hold your breath. Labor towards it. But, as far as getting to have the comfort of it already being realized, you have to wait until it happens. And historically, it doesn't look likely. You have the postmillennialists. They're certain that, we're in the millennium right now, and things are going to get better and better until the church dominates the whole world. And then once we've prepared the whole, I'm not knowledgeable in the postmillennial position, so take that for what it's worth. But once we've prepared the whole world and we've finally secured, the world for Jesus, then Jesus comes back, something along those lines. Even if that's true, you still can't pretend that it's true until it happens. You can't pretend that it's happened if it's not currently happening. And that's a fault that I see with the postmillennialists. Is the same with the premillennialists. They disengage and just wait for Jesus to come back, because why bother doing any of that stuff anyway? It's apathy. And the postmillennialists, they want to pretend that we're doing better than we're doing. We're doing bad, guys. It's super bad right now. Wake up. Most of the victories you think are victories are not victories for the Lord. They're victories for humanism and a humanistic version of Christianity. You don't get to choose the lesser of two evils. That means you don't get to vote for a pro-life candidate if he doesn't fear God, if he's not really pro-life. You don't get to, well, I want to make sure Hillary doesn't get in there. I want to make sure Kamala doesn't get in there, whatever. You don't get to do that. You do that, you're heaping condemnation on this already doomed nation. That's how we got here. What else? Have your heart swear an oath to love God, the truth, and souls more than your comfort. I wish I had better news for you guys.